This episode powered by PhotoFlashDrive.com. Presentation matters. Offering the largest selection of stylish flash drives and boutique packaging designed with the needs of pro photographers and videographers in mind. Ideal for delivering digital images and prints to clients in a beautiful manner, while also branding your studio. Customization is always included with no minimums or setup fees. Enjoy 20% off your order using code SHUTTER1 through April 2016, only at PhotoFlashDrive.com.
I'm Sal Sincata, and this is Shutter Network. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are in the world, welcome to Shutter Network. And today we've got a very exciting episode. We've got Jesse from Wedding As Art. Is Art? Which is it, Jesse?
As Art.
Wedding As Art. So get that right, but they own both domain names, so they're pretty smart. But we've got a great episode for you. We're going to talk about post-wedding sales, how to make money, and take it to that next level. So if you're shoot and burner, if you're somebody who's struggling with post-wedding sales, this is the episode for you to watch, because we're going to show you how to make real money. And I've never met a photographer who's like, no, I've got plenty of money, I don't need any more. You need more money, you need more gear, you need more toys, gear. You need all this stuff for your business. Where's that money coming from? That money does not grow on trees. You've got to stop milking your spouse, stealing from them. You've got to stop stealing from your day job. If you want to be a full-time photographer, you've got to learn how to make freaking money. And this is what we're going to talk about. So it's really going to come down to post-wedding, okay? So you've seen me on Creative Live. You've heard us talk about all these things. We get into it. We start talking about the initial sales consultation, the engagement sale. But then after that wedding, you're just giving up. You're convincing yourself that they have no more money left. They don't want to spend any more money. And what you're doing is you're leaving what I consider all this money on the table because you're posting those images online. That's mistake number one. Or you're just handing them over a CD of images. So we've got to stop doing that. And so let's dig into this a little bit deeper. Why? Why do we want to bring people in for the sales session? Well, the most obvious reason is we want to make money. But here's how you have to start thinking about it. It's not always about making money. Money to me is that side effect that happens because we're doing things right. I consider myself a full service studio. We offer our clients full service. We don't just hand them over a CD of images. That's overwhelming. You know, a typical wedding, we're going to show them anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 images. Am I really expecting my client to make intelligent decisions about what images are going to go on their wall, looking at 1,500 images? It's hard enough when they're standing right next to us to get them to select the correct image. You all know what I'm talking about. Well, that's what that meeting's all about. You bring them in, you have them in your studio, and you're going to walk them through their day. And you're going to tell them what can and cannot be done. You're going to celebrate that day with them. You're going to offer them wine. You're going to offer them champagne. You are going to offer them an experience. There is no experience by handing them over a CD. There is no experience when you post those images online. And by the way, I'm not hating on people who give away the CD. I'm not hating on you if you post online. In fact, I'd be a hypocrite. We do both. We post online and we hand over a CD of images. However, our process is completely different, and that's where I want to dig in. So, with that being said, why post-wedding sales? So that's the first question that you should be asking yourself. And you see it all on forums online. It's IPS, IPS, IPS this, IPS that, IPS, in-person sales. What you want to do is get to that point where you're sitting down with the client and you're having a conversation with them about their needs. You should be that trusted advisor. What are you looking for? What are you hoping to gain? What can I do? How can I help you and your family display this amazing artwork that we've created for you? Now you got to start thinking like both an artist and a business person. Trust me, guys, easy is just posting this stuff online. That is super easy. I would love to come home from a wedding, cull it down to 800 images, 500 images, whatever you're culling it down to, post them online, wipe myself of this situation, and be done. Great. Typical post-wedding for us is almost $2,000. After the wedding, after they've paid for their engagement pictures, after they've paid for their contract, $2,000 additional dollars. You're telling me you don't need $2,000 additional dollars? It's crazy. Of course you do. You're leaving that money on the table. And I want to tell you a quick story, okay? I'm not going to share names. In St. Louis, I had a bride just within the last 6 months. We were booked on her wedding day, okay? She hired another local photographer here in St. Louis. That photographer did all her work, her wedding, everything. I want to say that photographer probably charged in the $300 to $3,500 range, somewhere in that range. This bride was not happy with the whole process with this other photographer. I'm not slamming the other photographer. The other photographer didn't have that post-wedding sale, didn't get those creatives that she wanted. She came in after her wedding, day after her wedding, hired us, okay? Because she already knew she wasn't happy, hired us. We went out, she spent $2,500. I spent an hour and a half with her. She spent $2,500. Guys, you've got to get in the studio with them and make this happen. You're leaving that money on the table. So, let's talk about posting online. Why would you post online? When do you post online? Here's the biggest mistake you can make. If we're convincing you on this whole post-wedding thing, and you're buying into it and you're like, all right, Sal, you got my attention. I do want to make more money. I don't want to leave any more money on the table. But when do I post these online? Here's our typical workflow. Let's just pick dates out. On the first of the month, we shoot your wedding, okay? By the second or third, I'm leaking teasers of your wedding on our blog, on Facebook, 2, 3, max 10 images, okay? And that's what you're gonna leak to get people excited, to get them jazzed. 2 weeks after the wedding, so on the 14th, they're coming in to see their pictures. That's right, you've got to turn these things around in 14 days. If you're taking longer than 2 weeks to turn images around, you're losing momentum. People are coming back from their honeymoon, they're moving on with life, they're back to their jobs, vacation's over. The wedding seems like it's just in this far, far distant past, right? I mean, it's forever ago. And so what you want to be able to do is capitalize on that momentum with them. They're all excited to see their pictures. Encourage them to come in, see all their images, bring your parents, bring your cousins, bring your bridesmaids, bring everybody you know who wants to see your pictures. I'm okay having 20 people in my sales room. That's our workflow. Notice nowhere in there in that 2-week window are images posted online. We can't do that. We can't post these images online that quickly because you're going to overwhelm them with 1,500 images and it loses that momentum. They're not going to come in order. They've already seen them. It's old news. This is an emotional purchase. So now they come in on the 14th. You've got wine, you've got champagne, you have them in your home, your room. We'll talk about where you would do this, but you have them in your sales room. Okay, now they're going to see 1,000 to 1,500 images, 800 images even, all fully edited. Those images have to be edited. You're going to take them through that process, and then you are going to make recommendations on what images should be big in their home. You are the trusted advisor. And it's only after that meeting, after the big reveal, think about it as a reveal. After the big reveal, then those images will get posted online for all their friends and family to see and enjoy. I'm hoping this makes sense. That's our workflow. It's been our workflow for 8+ years and it works. It works, it works, it works. So you've got to get in the mindset of doing this. All right, so what about if you're dealing with destination style clients? Well, then you have no choice, right? They're not going to make it in. However, I will tell you that we've had several destination clients who are getting married here in St. Louis. Maybe they're from Denver or Florida. We've got several of those this year where they're coming back into town to see their family again after the wedding. So maybe that's 3 weeks after the wedding or 4 weeks after the wedding, but we're scheduling that with them here in our studio. Okay, let's say you're in a location where all your clients are destinations and they're not coming back. Maybe you're in a vacation area, something like that. That's all right. And so what we'll do in that situation is we will post online, right? So that's what I said. I'm not being a hypocrite. We have to adapt to the situation. But we don't just post them online and then send them a link to get there, right? What we do is we schedule a Skype call and then we walk through it with them on that Skype call. And that's the key to success with all this. And so now on that Skype call, we're the trusted advisor. We're walking them through the images. We're walking them through the packages. We're having a conversation with them about how to do this stuff. And so hopefully I'm overwhelming you at this point and lots of information and your head is spinning, but this is how you are going to grow your business and make more money. So here are 5 things I want you to consider when we start talking about in-person sales. Number 1, you have to have everything that you are going to sell. I cannot tell you how many photographers I meet with who are like, yeah, I'm doing in-person sales. It's not really working. Nobody wants to buy anything. And then I find out you don't have a sample of everything you're selling. So look through your packages, okay? And we'll talk about packages in a second. What are you selling? Are you selling a 16 by 24 canvas? Do you have a 16 by 24 canvas? And so again, a true story, only way I know how to teach. We have had a 30 by 40 on our price list from day one. 30 by 40 canvas on our price list from day one. And for the first 3 years in business, we couldn't sell a single one. And then one day we moved into our new studio and we had room on a wall for it. We put that 30 by 40 up. And in the first 2 weeks, we sold 3 to 4 30 by 40 canvases. And now, to date, it's been a few years now, we have no trouble selling 30 by 40 canvases. And the reason is simple. They're looking at it on a wall. And now they can envision that wall and go, oh, that's about the size of our dining room wall. That would make sense. That's about the size of our living room wall. That would make sense. So you can't sell it if you don't show it. And I know it's such a cliche saying and you hear it all the time, but I'm telling you, it's proof positive. And so to that point, what are these things you have to sell? What are these things you have to offer? If you offer albums, show the freaking albums. Show the exact album you're offering. Don't show a version of it. Don't say, oh, well, you can get this in blue with a green cover and ivy on the top. Show it. Show what you're selling. You've got to have it in their hands so that they see, touch, feel it. I cannot stress how important it is. And we all hear these stories about, well, Sal, I don't have money for samples. For crying out loud, guys. Every lab in the country is constantly running sales throughout the entire summer. Every album company is running sales on studio samples. 50% off your studio sample, 40% off your studio sample. There's literally no reason except excuses for you not to have it. So get this stuff, spend some money. I promise you, you'll make that money back tenfold just by having it. All right, number 2, bring them in. You have to get them in and meet with them face to face. Let's rewind, okay? Go back to 2007, 2008, when this business started for me. We were doing this out of our basement. Out of our basement. Now, granted, I don't have kids, we don't have dogs running around. Maybe you're in a different situation. That's okay. Find a business incubator in your local market. You can rent some of these places by the hour. Again, there's no reason. Okay, Sal, there's no business incubator. Do they have business space where you live? Are there any buildings that have giant for lease signs in them? Go talk to the owner of that and say, hey, you've had that for lease sign up for the last 6 months. If you would give me a very short-term lease, I can afford to do some of this. I can't commit to a long-term lease. My business is just starting out. I promise you, they would take some money versus nothing. Okay, maybe that doesn't work. Go to your client's home. Do the presentation in your client's home. Talk about service. Not ideal. I don't like going to my client's home, but there's your 4th option. Where there is a will, there is a way you can make this work. I promise you, you can make more money. Number 3, your pricing has to be in order. You have to have packages. If your pricing is all over the place, you are going to struggle in any business, by the way. Pricing is probably one of the key things for the success of any business, right? Believe it or not, pricing is tied to your marketing. Right? So for example, if I charge $300 for a wedding, what would your thoughts be on me as a photographer? Am I a good photographer or am I a bad photographer? You're going to think I'm a pretty shitty photographer. And that's because my price is tied to marketing. And so you've got to think about that. So you've got to put your pricing and packaging, sit down, get it in order. There's a ton of resources on Shutter Network about it. There's a ton of resources in Shutter Magazine about it. And so these things are there for you. Get your pricing and packaging in order. Sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and just go through it. Packages are the way to go for this. All right. 4. Stop handing over digital negatives. You've got to stop handing over these digital negatives. They are going to kill you. And I'm telling you, again, I'm not hating on you for handing over digital negatives. In many ways, I feel bad for you as a fellow entrepreneur because you are killing yourself and you're making it difficult to make a living. You can give digital negatives away. They just have to be in your higher end packages. It has to make sense. You cannot stay in business shooting a wedding for $500 and giving over the digital images. You cannot stay in business for $1,000 and handing over the digital images. There are 2.1 million weddings in the United States every year. On average, they're spending between $25,000 and $30,000 on their wedding. The average photographer is getting about $2,400 per wedding across the United States. Okay? Some are obviously making more, some are making less. Where do you want your business to sit in all that? You've got to figure that out. But I'm telling you, at $500 or $1,000, it's not even worth your time. You might be a weekend warrior watching this going, hey dude, I'm getting $1,000 on a Saturday, I'm good to go. Maybe you are, but what if I can teach you how to get $2,000 on a Saturday? Who doesn't want that? And so start adopting these strategies and start setting yourself up for success. Number 5, last one, just freaking try. Stop convincing yourself that it can't be done. Stop convincing yourself that you're not worth it. Stop convincing yourself that your clients won't spend money on this. I promise you, we are artists. We are a limited resource. We've got to protect this industry. We've got to take over. You've got to stop letting every mom with a camera, right? And it's nothing to do with moms with cameras. I don't know, that term just came up. Who cares? Stop worrying about what everybody who's got a camera is doing. Worry about you, worry about your business, and worry about taking it to that next level. You've got to take pride. I take great pride in being a professional photographer. Okay, you got to remember, I came out of corporate America. Corporate America, I don't know, there was just prestige where I worked. And I worked at a nice, great corporation. I used to work for Microsoft. I was senior person at Microsoft, and it was just this prestige that came with it all. And then all of a sudden I became a photographer, and it was like, oh, you're an artist. You're a photographer. And I was like, what? Like, dude, we're creating memories for people for the rest of their lives. That is no small task. And so I think if you change your mindset and you start taking pride in all that, you'll start understanding that people will spend money on you, and they will have no problem coming into your studio, coming into your home, into your basement, wherever you're set up for success, and spending that money with you. I promise. All right. Holy cow. That was a lot of information in a short period of time. I think I had way too much coffee this morning. So hopefully you guys are still with me, but I don't want you to go away because we got Jesse from Wedding as Art. He is coming on next, and we're going to talk about some exciting, I mean exciting, new stuff that's going on in our industry, and he's just trying to make it easier for you to make money. So we just want to keep taking excuses off the table on why you're not making the money that you should be making. But here's the deal. We got a great prize for you. So Wedding as Art is going to give a $600 giveaway. I know you don't even know what it is yet, but don't go away because it's worth $600. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to get social. So what has been your aha moment this morning? And if you have not had an aha moment after that first 15 minutes, I'm concerned you don't even have a pulse at this point. So what is your aha moment, right? Hashtag Shutter Network, or on Facebook, BT Shutter. Tell us your aha moment, and you will get a chance. We'll pick a winner for that $600 studio giveaway. Don't go away. Right after the break, Jesse will be on with Taylor as well.
This segment powered by Wedding as Art. Can you imagine making an additional $1,000 on every wedding you book? Wedding as Art is a new platform for wedding photographers that opens the door to huge sales previously untouched. Sales to the bride and groom's family and guests as gifts. Now your couples can choose your artwork and services instead of a gift they may never use. If you want to start making more money, sign up at weddingasart.com for 50% off your first year's subscription today. Use code SHUTTERNETWORK. Offer valid through the end of May.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm here with Jesse from Wedding as Art, and I've also got Taylor as well, my wife and business partner, and of course she runs our sales room. So Jesse, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Hi.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Yeah, so I want to, I was leading up to it before the break. I want to talk a little bit about Wedding as Art. It is truly exciting. You and I spoke about it just a few months ago, and I'm like, yes, we need to get together, talk about this. So just brief overview, what is Wedding as Art?
So Wedding as Art is a gift registry for photographers. It enables them to sell any of their professional products, whether it's album, extra pages, wall art, 30 by 40 canvases, even your own hours and your own service items, video, add-ons, things like that, as gifts. So no longer are you tapping out the bride and groom's budget. There's actually a whole nother budget out there.
You're like crowdsourcing
yes,
the wedding photography.
It's like Kickstarter in that way. It is a crowdsourcing site, so it's a contribution model. Any guests or family members can contribute toward these professional items.
But just like a bride's going to register at Target or Nordstrom's for their wedding, now they can register with Wedding as Art.
Exactly.
Just like that.
And the professional photographer, which is you or me, we're going to provide a lot better representation, I think, than the box stores who are capturing that budget.
Well, exactly. I mean, on the surface, when you start thinking about stuff like that, it makes so much sense. It seems so obvious. And when I rewind back into my own career, there was a point in time, and we got away from it. You're probably smiling because you know what we used to do. Yeah. We used to sell gift certificates for the business because we ran into brides all the time who tell us they don't have money. And then I'm thinking, and what spurred it was a bride came in one time with like 10 MasterCard gift cards to pay for things that she had gotten, which was kind of the beginning of like us offering coupons. I'm like, well, we should do this. And then we started including this in our wedding kit to the bride and groom. So then they would say, hey, we would say, hey, have your guest buy you your wedding album and things like that instead of getting you another toaster.
Right.
And we would do that. It became so clumsy for us to manage this, keep track of it, all these things. We just got away from it. And so that's why when you told me about this, I'm like, it's freaking brilliant. So how was this idea born?
So this was born out of my own studio. I started Finest Moments about 10 years ago in Cleveland, and I didn't really have a mentor when I started. I knew I'd run a business before, and I assembled a team, and we just started growing. And I really, in the beginning, didn't know much about what I was doing.
Like most photographers.
I was learning on the job, and I was trying to grow a business. And we grew quickly, and I was doubling my price every year. And I kept trying to figure out this place, because I have a family and I want to spend time with my kids. I want to coach their teams, and I kept trying to find that happy place where I was making a living, but I also have a life. And there was several seasons where I'd go through a whole summer and not feel like I had that.
Life, what's that?
Yeah,
You actually have a life.
Yeah.
He has
Wow.
a life. Why can't I have a life?
I think he's lying.
Well, we could talk about it, but that's really where it was born, I think, in the initial stages. But the idea was I wanted to make more every wedding.
Yeah.
I wanted to make more per event, and in my case, I wanted to shoot less, because I was doing 70 weddings a year and burn out doing all my own Lightroom, my own albums.
Right.
It was just and no time with the kids. So
I want to pause you there because, first of all, I love that you're a photographer. For me, as a photographer / entrepreneur, I love seeing success stories for others who see a problem in the industry and then step up and try and find a way to solve that problem. So let that be a lesson to all of you out there. If you're seeing that problem, step up and go try and solve it. But to that point, as photographers, we very much are sole proprietors, right? In a sense, because it's usually just us.
Yeah.
And that's part of my message. I advocate all the time, outsource, outsource, outsource. Outsource your post-production, outsource your books, your record keeping, because your time is best spent, I think, as a photographer doing two things, shooting and marketing. That's where you should be spending your time. Everything else is really just noise and a distraction.
Yeah, and that's a place where actually when I first met you, I think you guys were very helpful to me.
That's awesome. We met, so we were just talking about this, is it 3 or 4 years ago?
It was when you were on your first circuit, so sometime around there.
Yeah.
I wanted to start teaching, and you kind of warned me, and so instead I built start working on a computer program,
Smart
a platform.
man.
There you go, man.
But,
trust me, you're in a better place.
But no, I appreciated those type of things I learned from you, and gradually I learned to release some of that, and I did get my business to where I met my goals. I was shooting 25 a year, average about 6,500 just for the wedding.
Nice.
But I ran into a problem at that stage too, and that's really when Wedding is Art was born. My studio is about 300 yards from my house, so I'd come in from work right to the kitchen table, kids, dinner was ready, and a lot of times, and I do my appointments there, my pre-consultations, and I started running it. I was in Cleveland, so it wasn't the most booming economy at the time, and I was charging the most, I think, of any photographer in the city. So those sales appointments started getting a little bit uncomfortable. I was meeting with brides and grooms that I loved. I wanted to work with them. Their budget was $2,500. I kind of had made a commitment I'm not going to do what I did before, so I'd have to turn down events. And sometimes I didn't like saying no. I wanted to take that job, and it was difficult. And a lot of times I'd try to pull them in, to the 4,000 or pull them up, and sometimes that was uncomfortable. So after one of these appointments where I did not close the deal, I came into my house and I read an article, and it said something like $20,000 per wedding in the US was spent on gifts this year.
Yeah.
So I just, the dots connect, and I said, I've been busting these $5,000 budgets when there's a whole other pool of $20,000 that no one's even hardly servicing except for the box stores.
Going to toasters and
yeah.
That's brilliant, actually. So, I didn't even know that stat. So that's an interesting stat, because the average stat, I typically talk about weddings, 2.1 million weddings. Average wedding cost of the wedding is in that call it to $30,000 range. That does not include all the gifts.
Gifts are huge.
Yeah, so gifts are this huge part of it, and we're doing nothing as photographers to tap into it. And so that is truly where Wedding is Art steps in and plays there. So your program or platform is there to allow me as the photographer to start offering gift certificate-like services to my clients. Is that a fair way of saying it?
It is. It's a dedicated platform just to gifting. So. Gift certificates are one way to use it, but it's also a lot more specific than that. You can take your own product shots, and your album, your full 12 by 18 album can be contributed $50 at a time by guests, or sometimes aunts and uncles will come in and sponsor that album. Or another way it helped me was with that $2,500 bride, Well, now I can say to her when I'm sitting down with her, okay, you like me, you love my work, you want to work with me, right? Yes. I like you, you're a little below the budget, but we can still make it work. I'm going to create a custom collection for you. It's 5 hours of coverage. We'll get you the ceremony and the creatives, but let's make sure we get you at least 12 hours of coverage. So I'm going to add that into my gift registry, $300 an hour. So I'm going to add your album in there. I'm going to put my 30 by 40 wall art, my framed fine art velvet print. I'm going to put everything that you like, and that's what in my initial sales consult, I'm going to pay attention to what do they like, what is really out of their budget, but really piquing their interest. And that's what's going to end up in the gift registry. I'm going to make more money than if I would have booked my $4,000 bride.
And so this allows, right, because this is such a new concept, so I'm trying to make sure we're painting this picture, and obviously when this is over, I want to drive them to your website for more info and maybe even a trial run. But so this allows them now, and I know we're going to start integrating this into our business. That's why you're here, so I'm excited about this. But this allows that photographer now to go and say, okay, they can use it any way they want, really. Yeah. And so, but they can go and say, okay, you're going to pay for half your wedding, but your guests are going to pay for the other half of the wedding. Or here's what I need from you, but you want your wedding album, you want that 20 by 30 canvas, you're going to list those as gifts on this registry. And now she sends this link out to her friends and family. Is that how it works?
Yeah. So you book the date. That way the date's yours. But you build the expectation right up front that all the other products and everything else you want, that's going to be a part of your gift registry. And it's going to be by far most successful, just like any sales, is if you plant the seeds right in the very beginning. So you want to get this link. They'll have their own link on their invitations, on their wedding website. You want it above Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah.
Right? Or above Target.
Is it on those links, are they customizable links? Like the domain name?
So each couple you work with will have their own link that will direct them to their wish list. So the way it works for a photographer is you're going to create your catalog. It's the first thing you do. We provide a default one, but it's totally customizable. Upload your own product images, tailor that. That's really the majority of the time the setup is going to be right there, building your catalog. Once you build your catalog, everything's going to fly from there. So upload your own product images, maybe get permission from your album company to use their images if you want, or use our default catalog. Once you have your catalog built, you're going to send that to every bride and groom you work with. So best case, initial consult, I'm going to tell them about the registry. I'm going to tell them they can have everything they want in this studio, and they can have it as gifts. They love it. My first research went toward the brides. I started asking my brides and grooms, what do you think about this? What if you could have this? It was a no-brainer. This is another crazy stat that's happened since I started working on the program. When I started working on the platform, 50% of the brides and grooms I was photographing were already living together in a furnished space by the time they did their vows. Now it's closer to 70%.
Yep.
Wow.
So
try before you buy.
Yeah. So the point is that they already have the Vitamix, right?
Yeah.
They already have the sofa. They have the toaster, and in a lot of cases, they're returning crazy amounts of stuff.
They don't need that stuff. That's actually a really brilliant deduction, right? Because that is true. We know this. We see this with our clients.
Well, it was us personally.
Yeah,
too.
we did. It's more and more common.
Sal tried before he bought.
Yeah. But so now they don't need this toaster. They don't need all these things. They already have it. I want to jump to you, Taylor, because we talked about this a few months ago with Jesse, and at first I think we were trying to wrap our heads around how we would use it in our business. Talk to me a little bit. You do sales today. How do you envision working it into our business? Are we going to, I know the answer, but for the audience, are we going to replace our current sales process, enhance our current sales process? How do you see it working?
So to me, I'm going to use this to enhance our current sales process. And I totally agree with Jesse when you say the most successful scenarios are when you educate them from the beginning. So starting with the initial consultation at a wedding, I'm going to educate the client about the service that we offer. But where I really see it helping us is the post-wedding sale. So whenever they come in to view their wedding pictures and buy album upgrades and prints and stuff, it either goes one of two ways. They either spend a lot of money, like $4,000, $8,000, or they spend nothing.
Right.
It's the hardest sale for our studio because I think everyone's bombarded with wedding stuff and they just want to be done at that point. Some people have spent all their money on the wedding and they have nothing now. So in those cases, they spend nothing.
But that's why bringing them to the point earlier in the segment. That's why bringing them in is so important, because you get mom involved, dad back involved.
Exactly.
But you're 100% right when you say it's feast or famine.
Absolutely.
So we either have a monster sale, and that's why the average is the number I'm always talking about, because we have people come in and they spend zero, which drives me bonkers. And then we do have people come in and they're spending $6 grand, you know, sometimes more than the original contract. So it's crazy.
Yeah, but where I see this coming in handy is if those people that don't have any money to spend, all those gifts that they're getting from the wedding, if they had this photo credit as a gift, or if they were storing up this credit for an album upgrade, now I took that zero sale that I would normally have to a $1,000 sale. Or I take that $1,000 sale where people just have that much money to spend, and I can upgrade them to a $2,000 sale, because we know money spent is money forgotten.
Yeah, well, and what I like about this too, I know this is going to seem really bad, but is we know how much money they have. So they're walking in the door based on the gift cards, and we already know they have $2,000 in gift cards to spend.
It works in my favor, yeah. If I know they have $2,000, I know, okay, I'm going to try and get this to $3,000, and I have a strategy put in place.
Yeah, I think that's an unintended consequence. Like, you know, as you're putting this together, you're probably not really thinking about how a studio like ours would use this. So that knowledge is truly power, because it's like poker sometimes, right? It's like, I always tell people, it's me versus your wallet. Right? Because they walk in, I don't really know how much they're willing to spend or not willing to spend. It's war. But now they walk in with this, and we will know they've gotten $500 worth of gift cards, $1,000, $2,000, who the hell knows? And then you can use that to your advantage and sell it.
It's not only that, I also know what products they want, because I, as a studio, complete my products and offerings on Wedding is Art, what I'm selling to my clients. But then the couple picks from that grouping of products and selects what they want people to purchase for them.
So they tell you they want it before you even make the sale.
So I can see what they've picked. I can see, I know they want a canvas, I know they want additional pages. So now whenever they come in for that, I can tell them, or I know what they want to spend money on, and it just helps me with sales.
So let me ask another question. So how or when would you release this to our clients? So for example, we could tell them right from the beginning, after the engagement session. So for me, I want to know, and I'm sure photographers out there want to know, how or when are we releasing this to our clients? How do we tell them about this?
For us personally, I think I might mention it whenever they come in to book with us. Maybe, maybe not. I still have to do a little bit more thinking about that. But I know that as soon as our clients sign, we send them a contract, a paperwork, and a welcome kit in a presented folder with our logo, and it has vendor recommendations, a bunch of information to help them prepare for the wedding and working with us. So I think I'm going to build a little, maybe like a flyer to put in there that talks about this registry option and the benefits of it and explains how it works. But then I can also set it up on Wedding is Art and email them the link once they've signed as well.
Yeah, and I do like that. And this is so new for us. It'll be interesting to see, like with any new technology that we integrate into our own business, it'll be interesting to see in 6 months how we're using it and what those results are. There's no doubt in my mind this is going to lead to additional revenue. So in the spirit of all that, did you want to add to anything Taylor was saying?
Yeah, I think for best practice, it's going to be a blend of the personal sales approach. But what I've tried to do with the platform is make it so your bride and groom are doing the selling for you. So I don't want you to have to do any extra work. If you just get them, and they get them the catalog, and they create the wish list, you're pretty much there to sales, because then they share it with their guest list. We have a tool on the site where they can build their guest list right there. So if you get to them early, they'll build it, you have their whole guest list. So they send it to that whole guest list, and the guests, all they see is a Pinterest-style grid with all of your products.
That's awesome.
And checkout.
And can we, let me ask you this question, the marketer in me, do we have access to their guest list? Can we push out notification to them?
So there's, you can notify the guest. The bride, for the most part, the bride is going to notify the guest list, and we try to keep it in that side of things. But you would have the ability to push out a message to the guest.
Yeah, what if I wanted to say to the guest, buy a $100 credit for $50 or something like that, or 50% off the store or something?
So that isn't something we've implemented yet, but it's very doable.
All right.
The main thing though right now is we want the bride and groom to do the selling for you.
I agree. I like that.
So they send it to the guest list, and it's got their picture, it's got a personalized message from them, and it tells them this is what we want more than the sofa, more than the blender. And once the guests get that message and it comes across really clear, the sales just happen.
Well,
All you guys are doing is fulfilling the orders after the wedding.
Exactly. It takes the two biggest obstacles that I have in my sales room off the table. One, what do they want? Because now I can look and see what they're registered for. I know what they want. And two, how much do they have to spend?
Right.
So it's taken the two biggest obstacles I have for sales out of the equation. I can only imagine what it's going to do for our sales averages.
No, I think it's brilliant, and I'm really excited for us to keep talking and implement, because we're heading into wedding season now.
Yeah.
And so we're right in the we're right in the beginning of this, and so dude, if I can squeeze out for me just another $500 on a sale, I'm not even looking to be greedy and go, I want thousands per sale. 500 per sale. We're doing in that 40 wedding a year range. That's a lot of extra money. It's $20,000 extra to my bottom line for doing nothing.
And that number is very doable. I would think a lot bigger than that if you're getting on their invitations and their website. Now, right now, you already have all these weddings booked, right? All the way into probably next year.
Right.
Send it out to them now. The earlier you give it to them, the better. But I have one story where I sent it to a bride a week before the wedding. Did I get any gifts off that? No. But what did I get? She saw all my products. So that was another challenge I had. If you're not doing an in-sales meeting and they're not seeing your products, they're not buying.
Right.
But just by her seeing my products made her want to upgrade. So even though it didn't go through my registry, that upgrade sale was really easy for me because she saw it. It was in front of her.
And if brides, let's say their parents can't come in for the sales session, but the bride really wants that album upgrade, well, now the parents can see the product and offer, help for paying for the album.
And there's no reason why, as photographers, we don't have these like kick-ass product shots, right? We're freaking photographers.
Exactly.
So we should be able to sell that product and sell the quality of it. If we're talking albums, sell the pages, the binding, all that cool stuff. Okay, so we're running out of time. But so what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit more. Where do people go for more information?
Weddingisart.com.
Okay.
We've got videos on there that explain it, and if you register, we're doing a special.
Okay, what's the special? Tell everybody about the special.
Well, it's still May, and through the end of May, we're going to do 50% off both of our subscription levels. So.
And what are those two levels, by the way?
So we're brand new. We just launched 2 months ago, our pilot program, and really this is going to be our first big launch out of beta. And so we added another subscription model. We have our starter, which is $9 a month. And then we have a service fee that comes off the bottom of that. 12% covers your credit card processing fees. You're part of our advertising database where we send brides to you. And then we also have a studio version, which is more for
bigger studios.
Yeah. And that's got a much lower commission on it. It's $49 a month.
Yeah.
But we're doing 50% off both of them.
That's awesome.
Through the end of May.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
That is awesome. So guys, ladies, gentlemen, I promise you this is something you want to get out there, test, figure it out, because if you make just a few extra $100 that you would have never made before, it's totally worth it. And I really do believe, Jesse, that one sale pays for the whole year.
It does,
And so it truly becomes a no-brainer. And so I'm excited. We're also giving away 1 full year, right? So here's what I need you guys to do. I need you to get social. So what has been your aha moment? What are you excited about? What are your next steps? What are you going to get out there and do? So get out there on social media, hashtag Shutter Network, tell us your aha moment, or on Behind the Shutter, go to Facebook rather, BT Shutter, tell us your aha moment, and we're going to give them 1 free year, $600 value to Wedding is Art. So I'm excited for this, man. I like making more money, Jesse.
Sounds good.
It'll help. It'll definitely help you with that.
All right, dude. Thanks for being here.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks.